Hi, welcome to the Online Jewelry Academy. I'm John Ahr and I'm your instructor. We've had such a huge response to our elegant form-folded copper video that we decided to give you a holiday video using the form-folded technique to make icicles. This is a Ruger fold. It's very simple, and the way that I'm going to show you today, you'll be making tons of them in no time at all. We're going to be using some very easy material to work with, and I'm sure that they're going to grace your tree this holiday. Let me put this away and I'll show you how they're made. Now, the material that we're using is a Crafter's copper sheet foil. You can get this anywhere, at any art store, craft store, and it's very easy to find online. Now, before you begin working with anything sharp, it's a good idea to put on your safety glasses. Safety glasses are cheap, but your eyes are priceless. Okay, now the tools that I'm going to need to work with include a pair of metal snips, a Cross-Peen Hammer that has a wedge or chisel shape to it, some thin gauged utility wire, this is going to make the hanger, some kind of high contrasting permanent marker, a pocket knife or some other sharp knife, and a striking surface. In this case, this is what we call a bench block. Okay, let me put this down and we'll get started. The first thing that you need to do is to cut a small strip of copper sheet. Now, using your sheet metal snips, just cut a thin piece of metal out. Okay. Now, once you have this piece of metal cut out, you need to bend it in half. Now, I'm fortunate to have a vise right here, and I could easily put this in the vise, close it, dropping it about halfway down, and giving it a slight bend. Now, if you don't have one of these, it's not a big deal. What you could do is just put your metal on the edge of your table and give it that same bend. Okay? Then what you want to do is just fold it over and press down. Now, you don't want to hammer on the fold. Let me say that again. Don't hammer on the fold, because you'll work harden it and make it too stiff to bend. Okay, once you have this ready to go, you need to take your pen and just give yourself a guideline. It doesn't have to be a perfect drawing. Now, the trick to the Ruger fold is you need to have a very long strip that tapers towards the ends and has a little bit of a fatter belly in the middle. So what you might want to do is just give yourself an idea of how high you're going to go with this kind of crescent sort of shape that you're cutting out. So you're going to go from each end. So I'm going to start over here and I'm going to come up to, up to that area. My pen's not cooperating. And then I know that it's going to continue on and go to this edge as well. And like I said, it's just a rough drawing. Doesn't matter that it's incomplete. Okay, now I can use either the large shears or smaller shears. If you use ones this big, you're going to have to be very careful and take your time. Smaller ones are a little bit more effective because you can make the curve a little easier. But what you want to do is, starting at the corner, start to cut that taper towards the high point, and then once you hit the high point, start to taper back to the other corner. It's that easy. Get rid of your excess. Now it's time to hammer. Remember, we're going to be using a Cross-Peen hammer that has a wedge shape to the back of it. And I'm going to be using a bench block. Now, check to make sure your hammerhead's tight. If it's not, hit the base to secure it. Then, position your taper on top of your bench block. And at some point in the middle, you want to start hammering towards one end. Now this is very important. You don't want to strike the fold at the back, and the shape of the hammer should always remain square to the folded side. Now these shapes have a habit of stretching and curving, so you may need to reposition the hammer as you go along. So watch and I'll show you how it's done. Okay, I've done one side, and you can see how the material has stretched and gotten ruffled. Now I want to do the other side. To help things along, to help with that twist, I'm going to flip it over and go in the opposite direction. Okay, so you can see how the piece takes on sort of an elegant S shape. That's good. You want that. Okay, next what we want to do, take your pocket knife, open it up. Now be careful, don't cut yourself. Watch where you're putting it. You want to slip that pocket knife blade in between the two halves and give it a wiggle. You might even want to put it onto the tabletop when you do this. You don't want to cut into your hand. Now just go through the entire shape and open it up. Sometimes the hammering will make the two sides stick together. And you just want to get this fold opened. Okay, turning it around and continuing back in the opposite direction. Now you can help it with your fingers by opening it up, but you want to make sure that you open it all the way back to the fold. Okay. Now what I want to do is, starting in the middle, open it up slightly, and you can see how beautiful that's beginning to look already. And you want to make the two halves from the bottom of the fold come up and open out like a flower. Okay. So I have the center started. Now you can see that this side wants to twist underneath and this one wants to go the opposite direction. So we're just going to work towards both ends, allowing the metal to do exactly what it wants. So I'll open, and as I'm opening it, I'm keeping it steady and giving it a twist. It's really important that you get the ends to open up, because that's really what gives this form a beautiful elegance to it. It's just a matter of taste. So I'll stop here so you can take a look. And you can see how the fold line runs through the center and the shape just turns on that axis. Alright, once you get it to a point where you like the shape, it's time to put a hole in it. Now you can do that with a hammer, or you could do it with some type of a punch. It doesn't really matter what you use. I found a solder pick. I'll use that. I'm going to have a piece of wood here, and at one end I will position the pick and just push. The metal's really thin. It was easy for me to puncture a hole in it. Now what I'll do is I'll take a length of the utility wire, off. Now with the utility wire, just give it a nice sort of figure 8 curve. Kind of the classic Christmas tree hanger shape. You can adjust the length to whatever you like. And then just put the short loop through the end. And there you go. You have a beautiful Christmas Rugerfold icicle. I hope you enjoyed this project. Have fun making it. Check out our other videos and products on the onlinejewelryacademy.com. Thanks for watching.